It's a surprise. Oh. Shit.
Too late.
So you gotta be quick.
Gotta
on
be quick
that.
on that.
She went in there so small.
I tried.
That's really a good picture. Wow.
It is great. You guys look
Congratulations,
good.
girl.
The filters
Okay.
are-
Congratulations.
Wow.
This necklace.
Congratulations.
Oh, let me turn
Okay.
it off.
No, it's recording. It's been
wait.
recording for hours already.
Oh my God. Hi.
And we're gonna roll in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Away with Words, the podcast. It's your girl Bree Stories.
And it's a Tati.
Yes, it is. You know it is. So, today we're going to be talking about who's off limits when it comes to dating. This may be a derivative of a conversation that we've had before on this show, but we've been doing this a long time, so that's gonna happen. We're probably gonna revamp a lot of topics and things because we've been doing this for 5 years almost.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, let's put a pin in that. We have to talk about that because that's going to come quicker than we thought. But anywho, so we're going to talk about that, especially in light of y'all's fave. I don't watch the show, but I think her name is Porsha. I think her last name is Williams.
Is she somebody's fave?
I'm saying y'all, like the people, because
Oh, you
I don't
really
watch
like
that
her?
show.
Wow.
I've never watched the show, so I
neither.
only like know what I see from like the tweets and stuff. But your girl put the world into a frenzy for 3 whole days. I was actually super impressed because like usually you see people like going up about a subject and then you don't even notice that it went away. It's just gone. But like I felt like 2 days later, it was like the same conversation happening with the same fervor, with the same amount of like fury. And I was like, wow, y'all are really pressed about
trashy, nasty, but no.
it. So before we get into that episode, into that conversation, let's go ahead and talk about some, what do you call them? You know, church announcement type stuff. Mine has lipstick on it.
Oh,
Wow. Thanks. Let's talk about some items for you all to make sure that you know of and to do, so that I don't say this at the end of the episode and you turn it off and you don't hear it. Please make sure that you follow us on all the places to be followed. You can follow us at Away with Words, the podcast, on Instagram, and you also need to follow our producer and his production company. So that's at MJM Kid and at Moments_Stew. So all of the fun stuff that is on Instagram is there, including my personal page, Bree.Stories, and at A Tati's page, at A Tati. You can follow us on Twitter as well. I am Bree_Stories on Twitter, and she is at Hey Tati on Twitter. And do all the rest of things as well. We have a website, yaymesh.com, where a lot of cool things live, including these episodes. You can go and listen right from the website if you want to, or however you want to do it. And that's yaymesh.com. There's other stuff up there too. Written words, very, very many of them. Wait a second. Also Patreon. The Bree Stories Patreon has fun stuff up there as well. All types of exclusive content and content that my patrons get before other people. So you might want to get up on that as well. Am I missing anything? If you have a business that you would like to promote, let us know. We would love to promote your business. As long as you're not a Republican, let us know what it is and we can talk.
I got one Republican that I like,
Tell us.
and that's William from Girlfriends.
That's a character, so.
But I like him.
Okay.
I
that
could have
works.
not liked him.
Yeah, truly.
So
That's true.
I felt it was important to say.
So cheers to all of the things, all of the homework you have. Following us on places, subscribing to stuff. Cheers. Also the Yamesh YouTube channel. Wink, wink. And I have stuff all over my face. Nothing new here. Let's go ahead and do an icebreaker if you have one.
Oh, yeah. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, not money, what would it be?
It can't be money.
Nah.
An unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of my life.
Gift cards. No, that's still money, guys.
An unlimited supply of a thing. Can it be like food in general?
Like just food.
Or does it have to be like one specific actual thing?
Probably pick a specific thing.
If that's the case, then I would say Probably like tequila, cause I think that I spend, when I'm in the midst of, no, for real, cause when I'm trying to like save money and stuff, those be the moments that I be like, this is a lot of money for no, and it's like really not for any reason. Like I could choose to not drink, but I want to, and these bottles are like $40 a pop, So it would be kind of cool to just like never have to spend money on alcohol again.
Ever.
That would be great, actually. I can't think of anything more useful than that.
I couldn't think of anything more useful than that.
Because it's like, I don't know. Because I'm like, I got eczema, so maybe like hydrocortisone. Or like shea butter, But I don't know.
So I think mine would be gas.
I was just thinking that.
Gasoline.
Yes. For the car. I was gonna say, but I felt like, I don't know, because it made so much sense, it almost made me feel like that it was cheating in some way.
Yeah.
Like, because I was gonna say shelter. Like,
unlimited
a home.
Shelter?
Yeah, like having a home.
That seems like one of those things, though, like, in movies when you get like 3 wishes, that seems like something that's really easy for the genie to trick you.
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah,
like, something about
like,
it.
You just said a roof. And that's
or like
all
a
you
house.
Get. There are no walls.
Right.
Like,
maybe an unlimited house.
An unlimited house? She's not homeless.
It never runs out.
She's not homeless.
Right, it just sounded like too easy and like making sense that it almost made no sense.
Yeah,
so I was
it's like, no, this is too easy to get.
Yeah, right. So gas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with gas for the car.
I stand by my tequila.
If I could not pay for that,
yeah,
then I got the money for all the liquor.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't drive though, so.
That's true too.
Gas is never my business. Yeah,
I mean, hand it out so the people.
I hand out the gas.
Maybe like you can go to the gas station with me because I get unlimited gas.
But that would only.
Oh, you could charge like $15 for fill-ups.
Okay.
And you would make a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. I was about to say that would be something that wouldn't benefit me. That would just benefit people around me.
No,
but that does make sense.
You could be like, pull up with me, just give me $15.
I still say tequila though because I would start a little side hustle business. I would learn how to do like how the people learn how to do like custom bottles and stuff. Like I would just do that for the.
And you could also
and I could sell
the
those.
Tequila.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I would have so much that I can like make that work too.
Either way, we making money.
We're getting yaper. Look at let's check in. I'll check in first. Physically, thank you for that icebreaker, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I love to break ice.
Yes.
Physically, I am feeling.
Do your thing, Isis.
Awake. And emotionally, I am feeling a little topsy-turvy. Your girl is very sensitive, and we're trying to just push through that. My attention is currently on woo child, the events. Like, the things are happening. Summer is quickly approaching, and stuff is going on. So just trying to keep myself in good agenda mode, like good, like prioritizing the things that need to be prioritized in my life for my life so that I can comfortably do and enjoy the things. So that is what my attention is currently on. And spiritually, I feel like I am just given so much grace, and I'm so thankful for that. That's why.
So physically, I am feeling, well, the normal, of course, hungry. And as well as, but I actually think the hunger was brought on by the alcohol. Because I think I was pretty, like,
steady
regular.
before.
Yeah, but then it's like as soon as I started drinking, my stomach was like, bitch, how
Ain't
you
nothing in
going?
here.
Right, like, so you just gonna start drinking.
Can I see your
And you haven't fed
right
us.
hand rings? These are so cool.
Thank you. So,
I had a Whopper today. So.
I haven't had a Whopper in so long. I haven't had a Whopper in so long.
It was
so,
worth it at 10.
Yeah, I'm going to just go hungry. And when time did you have it?
10:30.
Oh. And emotionally, guys.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I'm fine.
That's such a thing though. That's like its own emotion.
I'm fine.
Yeah, but like in that cadence, in that tone of voice, that is its own emotion. I love that.
My attention is on this bachelorette weekend that's coming up. Y'all, summer, Resource just mentioned the like summer and events. I've been in full swing, and I feel like it is.
I said
You're over there. But I feel like it has been nonstop since my birthday. Like,
Yeah.
I knew, like, in my mind, I knew that, like, while I was planning for my birthday, I was like, once my birthday comes, it's going to be nonstop after that. Like, it was my birthday, 2 weeks after that, I did Disney World. Now, 2 weeks after that, I'm doing this bachelorette party. Then, like, a week after that, it'll be your mom's thing.
50th.
Then, like, 2 weeks after that, it'll be your birthday, as well as bridal shower. Like,
as well as wedding. Everything is just...
Yeah, it's nonstop. So... Yeah,
one day I'll take a real nap during the weekend specifically. Yeah, just like stay in the house for a full day and not have to do anything because we all learn.
I think that is the thing that one of the things I think I truly miss the most about not having a child is that my off days are still not off days.
No.
Like, even when I stay home. Yeah. Like, if I call off work and I'll be like, I cannot do it today. I'm staying home. I'll be at home thinking, like, bitch, you could have went to work. Like, I'll be laying there, like, depending on the vibe in the house. Or, like, I had my nephews this weekend. Oof. So, like, it just be a lot. And I just be like, what did you take off for?
Yeah.
Like, you're still
working
day and night. So, yeah, that. And then, what's my last thing? Spiritually, y'all. You know. I don't know. Spiritually, I feel like I mentioned this before. Mm-hmm. That I just feel like I'm like searching. Yeah. Like I'm on a journey for something, and I feel like something is. It's frustrating because I feel like something is like it's right there or something, but like I'm not allowed to touch it. Like it's like a wall right there, and I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, interesting. So yeah, I just feel like I'm on a little like journey or something, and I'm just waiting for the end of it, you know.
Onward.
Yeah.
You got this.
That part. Mm-hmm.
So, in light of Porsha, her last name is Williams, right? I'm not making that up. Okay, so in light of Porsha Williams and the frenzy that she created on the internet, so this is what I've gathered from it, right? Just in case.
I'm sorry.
Tell us.
Porsha is on Real Housewives, right?
Of Atlanta,
okay.
Correct? Yes.
All right.
So, as you can see, maybe we're not the best people to be having this conversation, but we're just using this to kind of catapult a bigger conversation.
To not know shit.
So, here, but I feel like I gathered a good amount of information because I listened to a podcast where a host is a big Housewives fan, and he kind of just broke down a lot of the things that people on Twitter don't know. Because, of course, on Twitter, you got your mix of people who are true fans and really know the ins and outs, and then you just got people who just see this clip of somebody meeting her so-called friend's husband, then it's like, and now she with him, and they not even, you know what I'm saying? Like, the me's of the world, that's all we saw until I listened to someone who actually is privy to the actual show and all of the things. So I listened to that and heard a little bit more information. So here's what I gathered. In the case y'all don't know what we're talking about at all, Porsha Williams is a Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member, thank you. And I don't know what season they're on now, and I don't know what season this clip is from, but apparently that
clip is from last season.
Okay, great. So last season there was a portion of the show where we are introduced to a young woman named Fallon, I believe, and she is introduced to us, to y'all, the audience, as Porsha's friend, as a friend of Porsha's, right? They go into the house. And it's Porsha, Fallon, and another young woman. They go into the house, and Fallon's husband, whose name is Simon, is there. And you see Porsha seemingly meeting him for the first time, giving him an awkward dap, like, hi, how are you, whatever. They're just, and that's all we see in the clip. That's it. This is the clip that is used to generate the conversation of like, oh, so in present day, Porsha and Simon have been together for about 6 weeks. They are engaged to be married, and Simon is in the midst of a divorce with Fallon, but they are not yet divorced. So this is all of the information that we have here. So with that, a frenzy fucking occurs. So many conversations happen, and people are going back and forth saying like, that's crazy if that was your friend, da da da. But then other people are being like, this is reality TV. They don't always really be friends. That should be set up. Blah 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 blah. And here we are. So let's chat. Thoughts?
I personally think
I
that
hate
either
thoughts.
side of the scenario, whether they are, if her and the girl were actually friends, the way she portrayed it, because they've also like posted like, because if they weren't friends before the show, once the show brought them together, she at least thought the girl was cool enough, because they were like seen like out and about, like they've like posted pictures with each other, like on Instagram,
Okay.
like on their accounts and stuff.
I didn't
So
know that.
there have been pictures that have like surfaced that were from like September, October, like recent times, like of them like out smiling, like having a great time. So if they weren't friends, you were still at least cool enough with the girl. And my thing is, not friends or no friends, I feel like Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's your job. That's your workplace. So I feel like it's messy to start dating your coworker's husband. Like, either way it goes is how I feel. And they're not even divorced. You're not even talking about a scenario where like
That's the
they've
biggest
been
thing for
divorced
me.
or they've been separate. They haven't been separated that long. They only, because they were literally just together back in like September, October-ish time. So if we just want to guesstimate, maybe they separated January, it's all still extremely fresh. So if your coworker is like, me and my husband just split, and then 3 months later you were dating him, like it's just all to me. It really doesn't matter about actual friendships, or to me it's just really about respect and having boundaries and having lines that you're just like, why?
Right.
Why do I, like, of course, now it's too late. Feelings are involved. Like, there's no going back now.
Yeah,
but from jump,
to you.
but from jump, when the interactions first occurred, when the man first, assuming he came on to her first, but when the man first ever approached her and was on some shit, she should have, she should have been like,
how did you get to the point where you were like, let's entertain this?
Yeah, she should have just shut it down immediately. Like, oh, Simon, come on. Like, you're a great guy, but no. Like, I can't. That's messy. I still gotta, and now they're saying that she's gonna be an actual cast member. So it's like,
so put a pin in that, cause and what I'm about to say does not really add to this particular conversation, because it just debunks it. But that is always my thought process, always, when it comes to this reality TV shit. For all we know, and because of what I was listening to on a podcast, apparently. Porsha is getting like a spinoff, like a spinoff, not a full show, but like a spinoff, like special.
If she wasn't, she is now.
A 3-episode special of like where she, I don't know, I guess like her relationship, something about that. And my whole thing, as soon as I was hearing all of that stuff, because it was all coming out so quickly, this is all in a matter of like a few days. So my very first thought was like, obviously it was either E or Porsha, and if it was Porsha, I commend her for just being like, let me take this shit by the reins and try to milk it as much as I can, because the network already does that for us and with us and kind of just jerks us around in whatever way anyway, because it's their show. But like, if she sat down, because also her baby father is involved, and the baby father is like close friends with Simon, and they're like chummy and comrades about it. And if she sat down with Fallon, Simon, I think her baby's father's name is some with a D. Derek? David? I don't know. I'm going to call him D. If she sat them down and was like, hey, so I got an idea. This is what we should do. We should pose it as this, and this. Because nothing else really made sense to me. The way that everybody was trying to flip it. Because everybody was going back and forth. They're like, y'all don't know if they really friends. Just like, they got pictures, like whatever, like you were saying. And it's like, but when did that start surfacing? In between the episode where she first met his wife, her husband, and now, because that seems super fucking calculated to me. It just doesn't seem realistic. Like, it seems like we're going to do this. It's going to put the fucking internet in a frenzy. And because it does, and when it does, we're going to be able to go back to E and be like, you see all this attention I done brought y'all? What we going to do? Let me get my spinoff. Let me get my this. Let me get my that. Let Fallon get a peach now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems very calculated. But that's not part. But let's For the conversation's sake, let's say it's not.
Because I don't think that's that.
Not at all.
I think that it
I
becomes
feel like
that.
all of that shit is that.
I think that it becomes that. I think that once you're in that world, once you do some
Everything.
shit that you know could be considered like
Clickbait.
good TV or something, you immediately jump on it, and I think then it becomes business. But I feel like the initial just them hooking up, I think they really hooked up. And then I think from there, it was like, oh, baby, we about to do this. You know, but I think the initial just...
But do you think that
Her
they hooked up
fucking
and
him?
Fallon is not, and Fallon's not okay with it, or like they never talked to her about it? You think that it was like that situation, or if it would, or like which do you think it is, like as far as Fallon's role in it? Because I feel like everybody is in on it.
I mean, my
I have the
assumption
thought
is that
that, not for
Fallon
sure.
was aware of it from jump, but I don't think, I honestly, I don't, cause like I said, like I don't know the show, so I don't know Porsha.
Me neither.
I don't know her personality or the type of like girl that she is. But I'm thinking when I first heard of it that she's been known. I think that she probably knew that Fallon probably knew from the beginning, but I don't necessarily think that she knew because one of them came to her and sat her down on some, hey, you know, this is what's happening. I think that she, you know, when you're in that world, everybody be knowing it, you know, like stuff gets back to people, like they're dealing with, you know, they have whole crews and teams. So if like one member of the crew so happened to be around one day when Porsha was on the phone with him, and then that member told that, you know, like I just feel like she's known from jump, and then probably like said something about it, like, so you fucking Porsha now, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't think it was on some, because the way that Porsha and him are like going about it with the whole like, that wasn't never my friend. You know, I feel like she probably took the stance of, I don't owe you anything. Like, I don't need to come to you and sit down and be like, hey, girl, you know, this is what's happening. Like, she's probably riding out on that whole, like, I don't owe you nothing. Like, if I want to talk to him, I can talk to him.
Yeah, I would place my bet on, I mean, anything is absolutely possible, but if we were placing bets about it, I would place my bet that all of this is planned and calculated and everybody involved is in on it. But for the sake of this particular conversation, because this conversation is not about that. This conversation is about how, and especially, I think that all of the examples that I have are like celebrities and stuff, right? And I know that we've talked a lot on this show because we just assume we have no fucking idea, right? We have no idea what it's like to be a celebrity. But we have this...
But we know what it's like to be friends.
But we have this thought of like what it is to be a celebrity and how much access you have to like top-notch like quote-unquote top-notch people, like people that are on your level and above, right? And you would think that it's abundant, but it's probably not. And so I feel like that happens a lot where it's like, yeah, like I'm very close friends with somebody who we dated the same person or blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel like that's more common. I have the thought that that's more common than we see. And when that sort of thing does happen and it's out in the open, we, as regular people, are just like, how do you even do that? Da, 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 da. But I think that our thought process is because y'all are rich, y'all are famous, y'all can have anybody in the world. Why would you have this person? But I think that it might be that it is that fucking scarce up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really ain't that many people that are on the same level as you, who understand your lifestyle, who understands the industry, who understand, like, all of these things. And so, yeah, you might end up fucking with the same person a couple of times, you know, the same people as your friends or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that it makes sense. No, I'm saying that it makes sense. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that it makes more sense to me than not.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's just as scarce for regular people. Like, people that aren't, like, if you think about growing up in our area and the boys that everybody knew as, like, oh, the hoopers and, like, you know, like, the popular ones and how they, like, you know, like, everybody, like, knew, and, like, now, I don't know, you're growing up was a lot different than mine. Yeah. But it never, you know, in my friend group, it being, like, being in high school and it being, like, 5 niggas that everybody just thought was just fine never made it okay, or for us we never started like circling these niggas around like, okay, well now she's fucking with him and now I'm fucking with him, like, but it's not really that many niggas here, that never.
But consider I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I'm not talking about high school stuff. I'm not talking about those types of things. I'm talking about as an adult who aspires to be in a certain type of a relationship. We have linear, we have people that are on our level and near us, and we have up. The more up you go, the less I would think that gets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like this giant pool. Like, me as a regular person, and whatever my standards are, I can look across or I can look up. And there's abundance on either side. But the more access I get, and the more rich or the more affluent, all of these things, I think that it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I would think.
I mean,
because
I'm sure.
especially in this era. I'm not talking about back when I'm especially not talking about high school stuff in general, but I'm also not talking about that time and that space in that era. We have all types of access. Like, online dating is a totally different thing now. Like, you literally you have the option of like, no, I could just find me a nigga over in this pool of people, or over here, or over there. Whereas if I am a fucking singer, songstress, whatever, my pool is really not that great. I would think. I have this thought, right?
I mean, I've never felt like my pool was that great. I think that when you just talk about just having access to just niggas or just men in a general sense, like, sure, like, but that's the same way so like, they have access to men, like they do have like an abundance of just.
But I'm saying,
access
but when you get to the point where it's like, I want a certain type of man,
but I feel the same way for regular people. Once you get to when you start doing the breakdown of exactly what it is you're looking for, exactly what it is you want, when you start thinking of relationship wise and building a life with somebody, that abundance of niggas in that room will turn into one person.
Yeah, but that also depends on your individual standards. Because if I make $45,000 a year and I'm just looking for somebody to be in a regular relationship, monogamy, like, I'm looking for the basics. I have a pool around me and I have people above me. But that's what I'm saying. The more affluent I become, that pool is not the same amount of big, I don't think. Because your standards are going to rise the more you are.
Now you just mean just people that you would just consider, period.
Yeah.
Like, just on a blanket, like, I'm not even looking his way because he doesn't make enough money or something like that.
Just the basic things that we look for.
Right, but I don't know, in my mind and in my 30 years of dating, like, dating is just... Dating 30 years. I haven't been dating 30 years. So in my 15 years of dating,
talk about,
I just think that when you start getting down to the people that you actually mesh with, or things, which is how I think most of the time these type of Porsha people fall into these scenarios, because it'd be like, damn, like,
I wasn't expecting a vibe, I
got access to hella niggas, but I'm only cool with this one. I'm only getting along with this one. I only truly see
to be my friend's
right.
husband.
And I think that whether you have money or you don't have money, I just think that vibe or that unique feeling that you look for in people is not in an abundance of places.
Of course.
It's always gonna be few and far in between.
No, I'm solely talking about consideration. Like, these are the people that are on the level in which I am considering. Ours is all up and down, and then the more affluent we are, it's like, excuse me, I'm not even looking at y'all. I'm not even looking at the PAs on set. I'm not looking at y'all. I'm looking at people with big fucking money. I'm looking at people with big fucking careers, big fucking this, big fucking that. And I do think that pool gets smaller. But that does not mean that it is right. I just say it makes sense. Like, I get it to an extent, But if that is your real friend, I think there's a way I think transparency is the cure for everything, right? I think there is a way to do even some of the things that we look at as the worst if you are transparent. I think that things become worse. Like, I'm not about to help no nigga. I don't care if I don't like that bitch, don't know that bitch. I'm not about to help nobody cheat on their bitch knowingly. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if I don't even see how this would happen, but it's a totally different situation from me sneaking around with your man as opposed to your man coming to me and being like, I really want to be with you for whatever fucking reason, and if I agree for whatever reason and we talk to you about it, or he talks to, or I know that there's some transparency happening, that makes it a totally different situation. So it's like, I think that there's always an exception to these rules, but I think that it's something that happens so commonly. I mean, there has to be because I think that it happens. Like I'm
It
not
happens.
saying, I'm not
That
saying
don't mean that it's
I-
an exception to my rule.
Not your rule.
Right.
I'm saying the general like girl code. You don't fuck with girls, guys. Da da da. Like there's always an exception. Either my particular exception is particular to me, where I really generally I don't care about that. Like especially because it's only a couple of niggas that I care about to that extent, and those are the people that I would expect. If any of my friends had any access to them, y'all would be coming and talking to me. Y'all would be making it your business to be like, hey, so don't know how this happened, but we need to discuss it because y'all already know those people. But there are people that I have fucked with that y'all don't even know. So if you come to me, and this happens all the time, we just be talking like, oh, I met this dude, You be talking to this nigga for months and I don't ever see or meet him, and then he come to the function and I'll be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's an exception to the rule. I'm not gonna be like, well, it's girl code. I don't care if you've been fucking with her for 4 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's stupid. So I do think there's exceptions to every rule. But it seems like something that is so common in the celebrity world, and it's funny because when I pitched this idea like that, we talked about this. I was like, okay. I wrote down like, let me do some research, like find some people. But there was a blog on Instagram who did it all for me. They gave me a whole list. So it's not that long of a list, but I was just like, damn. So wait, I wanted us to put this in categories. So our conclusion for Porsha, that man was off limits. Yes. I agree. I think that more than anything, whether this was staged or not, that man was married. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. Like, married in active relationships, all that type of stuff is where it's like, it's hard for me to believe anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? It makes it even worse that on top of that, this is like somebody that we see as your friend. Like, all of that stuff makes it even worse. Because, like, you already started with fucking with a married man. You know what I'm saying? It muddies the waters for everything else. It's like, I don't believe you. Even if you come and say, like, hey, we sat down, we talked about it. I don't even believe that. Because y'all had it in y'all enough to fuck with each other and he was married. Why would I believe that y'all, like, did everything by the book?
Because I'm not even, like, because I believe in, fresh. Like, you know, people be separated for years and years. You know, so, like, I'm not,
the law is trash.
Right, like, so I could come to terms with somebody being technically married, but no, that nigga technically is married.
No.
Like he's not.
Yeah, I'm talking about his specific case.
He's like fresh out. He's on some shit like he coming to your house talking about no, we broke up yesterday. Like we separated now.
I sat her down last night. We talked about it.
And you was like, oh great, we go together. Like that's like what?
And then engaged. It's the engaged for me as well. That's like
her wounds. Her wound, I feel like to some extent, like when I said, I don't really care if y'all were friends or not. I feel like to some extent, just compassion as a human being and respect you should just have a certain level of it. And this woman is fresh.
Like I can't imagine a nigga coming to me and being like, I just broke up with my wife for you, and me just being like, great, let's just act normal. Let's just act like that wasn't a factor at all.
And then friend or not, you know the woman.
You know her.
This ain't like a straight don't know this woman from a can of paint, never met. Like you've kicked it with her, you've posed for pictures with her and posted it on your it's just
spicy. But I think they wanted to look that messy. But that's neither. I keep going back to this being staged. So the point is that man was off limits, period. So around the same time this story came out, I don't know if you saw this, but I saw something that Travis Barker's ex-wife, and I didn't get timeline. I'm pissed that I didn't.
I love her,
not
but
that
she's crazy.
Not that.
But I love her.
Not that I know. I don't know if this would have mattered or not. But apparently, Travis Barker's ex-wife, and Travis Barker is now dating Kourtney Kardashian. Mm-hmm. They're in a relationship, openly and publicly. Apparently, his ex-wife came out and said, part of the reason him and I split is because he cheated on me with Kim Kardashian. Mm-hmm. So that's why this was even on this list of people. But
Travis denied that.
Okay, so for the game, let's say that. And also, I'm going to make up a timeline. A decade ago, because the Kardashians have been around for a long time. They've been famous for a long time. They've had access for a long time.
And Travis has popped in and out of their show for years. This is like a close friend of the family kind of thing. Like way before him and Kourtney was ever like dating or anything. So like he always just like, I think his kids are like, you know, like I think he lives. I don't know which one of the Kardashians they live next to, but he lives next to one of them.
Okay,
so he
he's just
be
been
at the
around.
functions, like birthday parties and
Okay,
shit like
so
that.
we're making this up, y'all. Don't be like bloggers away with words of podcast say it was 10 years ago. Nobody said that. I'm saying let's pretend a decade ago Travis Barker cheated on his wife with Kim Kardashian. It's now been a decade. Nothing came of it. It was just like, you know, some sexual fling, whatever. Kim was heartbroken, young, whatever. Her judgment was skewed, whatever the case might have been. They didn't pursue a relationship or anything like that. She knew better than that. 10 years go by, and he goes to Courtney and is like, you know, professing his love to her, wants to be with her. Is he off limits to Courtney?
I don't think so. I think that is more of I think just based off of the facts,
right?
No. But I think that turns into
the fake
more
facts.
Right, the fake facts.
Yeah.
I think it's a no. I think the off limits comes from then them personally deciding like I can't mess with nobody than my sister. You know, like
right.
But I don't think that it's actual because I think
that's how exceptions happen.
Right, when I think of that scenario, I'm thinking of like the way it is in my mind if that had happened, it's just on some like she just wants to have sex. Like, they just had sex one night.
No,
randomly
they had sex
or
a few times.
something.
They had a sexual fling.
In my mind, they had sex one night.
No, I'm saying that's the fake scenario. The fake scenario is that they had a sexual fling. So ongoing time, but like maybe not a long time. Maybe maybe within a span of a month, they had sex 6 times.
Okay, right. And in my mind, this is a completely like just animalistic, like lustful, like
for sure,
whatever type of thing.
Still,
so 10 years later, and if Kim, that's something that you would have to know in your relationship with your sister. Because if Kim has never mentioned this man or talked about him in a way that truly mattered, you know, then I could see Courtney then coming to her and being like, Travis wants to date, you know, like Travis wants to date me. You're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
You know,
you should
and then
always
if she,
ask.
right, but some scenarios I'm not, because some of the scenarios like what we just mentioned, Simon being off limits, I'm not even asking because that red sign to me is already bright as hell. He's off limits.
No.
But that's one of the scenarios where I could see going to your sister and being like, are you, you know, is this okay?
Yeah.
How are you going to feel?
But exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when I say you should always ask, I say you should always ask if, like, even, like the smaller the situation is, the more it feels like, oh, they wouldn't care. You should definitely ask.
Right.
Like, the more it seems like it wouldn't matter or they wouldn't care, you should absolutely ask. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people take, like, they take little social cues as that, and it don't even be that. Like for instance, like if somebody is in a new relationship or been in a relationship, like why would you care? You got a man. It's like it doesn't matter. Like for some people, it doesn't matter. So you should. And
you need to know in the very, 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 and I mean before you even start like. Don't even start like having conversations and getting to know each other better. Like the very moment that he approaches you and is like, "We should go out sometime," you should not respond at all and go talk to your sister and then come back because that's when all that shit. Because if you start talking to him and thinking that he's even just a cool person, it's gonna get messy. Because on the off chance that your sister does come back with I'm very uncomfortable with that. Like, that's just, even if it's not about feelings, it could just be weird. Yeah. Because that's how I look at things.
I don't want to see him. Like, my face was in his crotch many times.
Yeah, like, a lot of the things that I think about, like, people that, like, I've dealt with, I haven't had, like, sexual relationships with a lot of people, but just, like, people that I've just, like, dated or, like, dealt with at some point in time that I could care less about. And then if one of my friends was like that, it wouldn't be so much like how could you do this to me? Yeah. It would just be like is that not weird to you? Like, I would just feel weird being in their presence, like, knowing the things that we've talked about or things that, like, we've done or something. And now, like, I would just feel weird about it.
Not
but
me.
it would be
thought you meant, like I could see that, but I could see more so, like, people be squirmish about sex, which I get. Like, certain times it's like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to have access to you kissing them. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, it's just weird. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
So, in conclusion, I agree with you. If that was the scenario, I would say not off limits. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Lil Fizz and Omarion and what's her name? April? I was about to call her June. Her name is April. June is such an old lady name. Like, April is kind of an old lady name, but June is like, you were born, like, no earlier than 54. Like, for sure.
June.
Anyway, so... and you know what's funny? That I took them from that list, but I barely remember the whole scenario.
I mean, the scenario was just that's Omarion baby mama.
Yeah, no, but like I can't remember like how it happened, like how they popped up on the scene as like, oh, Lil Fizz and April are a thing, like how that happened.
I think it just popped up. I don't even think it was like a gradualness to it. Like it was like rumors. I think like whispers, like Lil Fizz and April dating, and then it was just like pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was no like.
So we can all agree that April should have been off limits.
Yes. And this is a scenario where I honestly, because like clips that I've seen when like Fizz or April have like talked about that situation.
Their babies are young too. I just thought about that. Their youngest at that time was young, was not even a toddler or something, right? Because their kids are still pretty young. How old are their kids?
They are young, but her and Omarion, I think by the time she got with Fizz, they had actually not been together for at least 2 years or something.
Oh, okay. I thought that little one was like real little. Okay.
No, not like babies.
That loosens it up a little bit for me.
Yeah, they were already long gone from each other. But when I've heard clips of them discussing their relationship or like Fizz's closeness to Omarion and Fizz saying like that man is not my friend. Like we don't, and I believe him wholeheartedly. Like him and Omarion are not friends. Like so, I understand him kind of being like, "What the fuck?" Like that man's not my friend. But once again, it's back to the Porsha situation with me. Who cares? Like it's not about if that's your friend or not. This is your bandmate, and then y'all were the show had started.
Touring. Y'all was still about to go on a tour.
But even before that, if y'all weren't friends before, y'all had come back into contact with each other via Love and Hip Hop. Because when Omarion and April first came on the show, they were together. They were having their first baby. She was pregnant with their first child.
That's what I remember.
So you were a part of that journey of them actually being a couple.
Y'all were coworkers at that point.
Yeah, right. And then it's not like y'all had beef before. Y'all just wasn't cool no more. Yeah. So when he came back on the show, y'all was kicking it like everything was fine. So it's just another weird why for what, like nothing in your mind is just like
for me. I think that's another one that is an exception to the rule if there's transparency, and of course we never know. All we got of Omarion's response to it was his very woo-woo way of saying like, you know, people don't own people and she can do what she wants and I love them anyway, which is great, and I commend him for going about it that way and not continuing to circulate mess. But if we knew the ins and outs of that, I would feel like she wouldn't have been off limits if there was an immense amount of transparency. An immense amount. Like, because I kind of get that. Like, I kind of get, like, if we were bandmates as kids and we have not talked, like, on our own accord, we don't think to reach out to each other or be friends, we don't think to keep our friendship up, I really don't feel like I owe you much but that amount of transparency of letting you know, like, hey, I'm kind of plotting on your baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Ugh, it's gross. Like, it's just... But, you know.
And when you met her, well, I don't know if that's when he met April. He could have known her before then. But Omarion and April had been together for a while before they even started having kids. Yeah. So it was like,
which is so sad.
It's just like him coming, it would have been better if when Omarion first came back into his life, him and April had already been separated. It had been like we not together no more. Mm-hmm. But when you and Omarion came back into each other's focus, when y'all started planning this comeback and this tour and everything, they were very much together.
Yeah.
So it's like
by that time the dynamic of their relationship changed, and I think that makes it a little less than off limits for me. No, let's take a shot to Lil Fizz. I couldn't say it with a straight face.
Because it was trash.
I know, exactly. Being a real nigga, fucking these bitches, fuck his friends, who cares? Like, No, but anywho, August Alsina.
What did we decide? You say that she wasn't off limits.
Oh, I said that I don't want to say a complete and full off limits. I would say a little bit below, and the only thing that would make it okay was extreme transparency out of respect. Because I don't feel like she should have been off limits because they weren't friends, and they weren't those types of friends anymore, or they didn't have that type of connection anymore. So I don't feel like she had to be off limits, but I do think that Omarion deserved the respect of being like a heads up, and I mean before he got at her, the respect enough of being like, hey, y'all not together no more, do you mind? And Omarion had the right to say yes or no.
I say off limits because that's why J Boog was pissed because Fizz fucked up their money.
Well,
like that's the reason why because he thought they was about to go overseas. So
Omarion was silently petty.
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, like he.
But that's why he should have asked.
But
Omarion would have said no, and he would have had the discernment. Yeah. He would have at least had the information to know. I think
you was trying to still actively work with this man.
Yeah.
Why would you? Yeah. It ain't like y'all was just long gone out of each other's lives. Like y'all were actively trying to like.
He should have asked.
Sign contracts. I say off limits. Cheers. Next.
The internet tries to make it seem like August Alsina had this relationship with Will Smith. I don't know. I thought that he was more so mentored by Jada.
Me too.
I didn't know that. I think obviously by proxy, if Jada Pinkett is my mentor, her husband is probably going to be around every once in a while. But that doesn't mean I have a connection with her husband. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Did they mean off limits because he had a connection with
just
Will
because
Smith,
he
or did they just
knows
mean
him?
off limits because she was married?
So this is how the list was. I should have made a link. I should have saved a link to where I got it from because the list was in picture form, which is why my list is so choppy. Why I was like, why do I have Kylie Jenner on here? But like, it's like pictures of people basically with the person who they either like took from them or whatever, and it's just a picture of August Alsina and Will Smith, and I'm like. Were they friends or were they like what was the deal there?
I don't think Jada was off limits at all.
No, to nobody.
She was for the streets. I think that
not for the streets. But I think that they have. I think that what they
she had the option of being for the
streets
streets though.
Yes.
Like that's what I meant. Like if they were very clearly at a point in their marriage, because I take everything they say at face value and believe everything that they said.
Yeah.
And if they were very clearly at a point in their marriage where they was like, this shit rocky, but we don't believe in separating. We're not getting divorced. That shit dead. So what's best for us, right? Like what's best for us right now is you can do your thing and I can do my thing. And as long as you're honest with me and let me know what the fuck is up, we gonna continue to work through our shit. And so
I have a question.
There was nothing off limits.
In those situations where you're dealing with that type of couple, when are those people off limits? So I'm the friend of these people, or I am. Let's not say I'm the friend, because maybe when I'm the friend is when they're off limits. When is someone who is in a more fluid and open relationship? When are they off limits? Who are they off limits to? Is the question.
Well, I think like you said, like I would assume, and this is my assumption, but I don't know how these open relationships work. But I would assume that even in an open relationship,
is important.
Right? Like, but I would assume that in an open relationship, friends and family members are still something that's off limits. Like, just because I would think, like, just because we're in an open relationship, that don't mean I'm giving you the okay to go fuck my brother. Like, you know, like there are still lines or boundaries, you know, but that's all individualistic. Yeah, like who knows? Like,
but that's how I feel about all of these things, though. That's why I was saying earlier, like there's an exception to every rule, where it's like you have your standard of like what is and isn't off limits, and like mine is different. Where it's like, I'm not gonna be mad at nobody. Y'all know, everybody who's close to me and anybody who would do something with somebody who I actually it would like sting or it'll feel away.
Right.
I'm not even going to assume that it would be one of y'all. It would be somebody who like is an acquaintance at best. You know what I'm saying? And I might look at it and be like, that's OC, but also they don't owe me anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it. And that just is what it is. As far as other people, I mean, you don't know. I've had my day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. Never mind. Don't say that. I can't like be wild about people that I've just been casual with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't feel like that's fair. I don't think that makes any sense. And the people who really, really matter to me know the people that are true. Like, there might be a couple of people where I will look at you funny for even asking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody else, if you ask me, it's like, oh, okay, you know, I like the transparency. I like them having the conversation. But people who are close to me know the people where I would be like, this is a fucking joke. Like, why would you even come with me at that? So that's what I was saying earlier about how there's an exception to every rule, but not that there's an exception to the rule, but that it truly is case by case.
Yeah. In those scenarios, to me, be more about, to me, it don't even always even be about if it's okay with the other person or not. To me, it's just, it'd be telling me just a lot about your character, period. Like, just how you move, like, to me. Like, it's not even about
not you hate me.
If you, what? No. It's not even about if I wanted to, y'all was different as kids. They were some wild boys. But no, it's not even about if I was to come to Bree and ask, like, can I date this nigga? There's one nigga, Bree.
I would love for you to have it too. I would really love it. You know.
But no. But it's not even about if I would come to Bree knowing that, like she just said, there are a handful of people that are, like, very important that would kind of be, like, automatically off limits. But everybody else, it's not even about if I would come to her and kind of already know that she wouldn't give a fuck. It's just about my character, my insights, my mentality that's just going to be like, no. And when I see people that don't have that, like, you know, like, why? It's kind of like,
and let me be clear, like, the people that I say, like, I would look at y'all crazy if y'all wanted to be with them, they're not off limits. They're human beings. They don't belong to me. But it would be a lot more of an adjustment for me than, like, somebody that I had a casual fling with. Because I also know that I deal with a bunch of, y'all not no fun girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all talking to somebody, he going to be around. He going to be at the functions. So there are certain people, if I see you at the function and you with my friend, so? But there are other people I'm going to need to adjust to that. You know? It's not that they're off limits. It's just that we need the transparency so I can just have the room to figure out how I'm going to act in those situations. But nobody belongs to me. Kylie Jenner. Oh, who did we say last? August. She wasn't off limits.
Not off limits.
Kylie Jenner, Black China Tiger.
Right.
Was Tiger off limits? Should he have been?
Here's the thing, y'all. You know, in my young years, I always found myself in the scenarios where, because I've always had hella male best friends. Like, that's always been the thing. I've always had, like, a lot of, like, boys around me. And so I would fall into scenarios often where my best female friend would be dating my best guy friend. And then it could be, like, another close friend of mine that also likes the best guy friend. Yeah. And if she would start, like, messing with him or do anything, like, it would always just be like, I understand that you and her are not best friends, but you're are both, you're both situation. My best friends. So it's like, I don't want to say that it's complete, but it's just one of those things that you need to kind of question what it's worth. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Like, is it worth the awkwardness and the weirdness that you are about to put in our family now? And also, is it worth, because in that specific scenario where that was a Kim being very close friends with Blac Chyna, you know, but Kylie being her sister, she automatically kind of ended up having to ride out with her sister because that's her sister. Her and Blac Chyna aren't even friends anymore. So it's also, in some cases, is it worth taking that friendship from your sister? Yeah. Like, is it worth her having to now lose, you know, like, that person? Like, is this man, like, how much does he mean? So I feel like that's just how you, I don't know. We don't know. For me personally, inconclusive. And for me personally, like all the other ones, off limits. Yeah. Except for Jada. Like, but I'm still
she's
going.
More seasoned than us.
I'm still going with the off limits because you're not my best friend, but I respect my best friend's best friends. Yeah. Like, the people that are your best friends Well, you have like one best friend that I genuinely consider like that is your best friend,
Yeah.
but me and her are not close.
Yeah.
And I would never,
Fuck her
if
ex.
if I knew for a fact, like you're like, oh, that's such and such man, or like it was a known, just it would just automatically be almost as if it was your man.
Yeah.
Like that's her best friend. Like why would I do that? Why would I create that energy in a once like happy environment?
And if it's like for nothing, like I do agree with the Wayne
Just a
get out and
nigga.
being like, is it literally that deep? Like, is it this deep?
It's just a nigga when you cut it off from jump. It only turns into this huge thing
when you don't talk about it until you already
and when you
talking to him
venture
for
into
weeks.
it, like you
Right.
already didn't let feelings get involved and you played into it. But from very, very beginning, when the nigga's just saying hi, it's just a nigga.
Yeah.
You can just not talk to him.
You can
It's
just
not
not
that
say
deep.
nothing
Like,
Bitches be curious though.
so what
It's me.
are you
Bitches.
saying off limits or no?
I don't think that they were. I don't think Tiger was. I also know very little. You know, I don't Kardashian, but from what you gave me, which was China and Kim were best friends. China was Tiger's man, baby daddy, blah blah blah. I don't know. I think I just struggle with that too. I struggle with this whole thing
Just
because
weird.
I just be like, no, I'm on the other end. I struggle with being like, you can't talk to this person because da da da. It's like I get it, and I know that I have exceptions to that where it's like, no, yeah, that will make me feel ways, but I don't know, cause I also don't know how I don't know, cause like when I think about my sister, me and my sister are different types of people. I can make sense of my sister. Like my sister dating one of my best friend's exes. We're different people. The people who I have in my mind, we would all be like in
But karma, because Kylie got that back tenfold because she had to lose her best friend. Because the whole
Who's
Jordan,
her
Jordan kissing Tristan thing,
truly.
that was a situation where
Wow.
Jordan should have weighed that situation and been like, this is my best friend's like sister's like man, and should have like aborted mission, and Kylie had to lose that friendship because ultimately, and I don't even think, at least from what we've heard, Khloe never outright said, I don't want you fucking with her. Like, don't fuck with her no more, you know. But I just think, you know, weirdness when it comes to family, and just if you looking at your sister crying every day, you probably feel weird about being like, well, me and Jordan are gonna go to the mall. Like, and she probably just had to make that decision without even knowingly making the decision.
Yeah,
She
let's
had
just
to
call it
just
off
go.
limits. We've spent far too much time talking about the Kardashians. Y'all know I don't Kardashians. So the last one on my list is The Best Man, the movie.
Mia?
Mia?
Yes.
Me?
She was off limits.
Immediately off limits. Like, there's absolutely nothing.
As a child, I never understood it.
What made it even worse is that it was a deep, dark, lifelong secret. After, like, that's what really, really, really did it for me. Because if it was one of those things where it's like, in the moment of what was going on, right? No. Understandable to some extent. I get how we got to this point. But we need to be honest with my friend and your fucking man, especially if you just gonna get back with him and get engaged and all of this shit. Like, the fact that they were, like, holding that deep down inside and, like, writing about it in fictional characters instead, that's what really made it a fucking mess. Was she off limits from beginning? Yeah. But it could have been a lot simpler because she wasn't...
Harper made niggas seem so whack. Because Harper, he made it seem like men literally just have no say-so over themselves. Like, it was like a...
That's how niggas
because,
act, like they...
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that depiction was like... Because regardless, of course,
imitating life at that
Harper,
point.
in that movie, it always showed that Harper... He really cared about Mia and hated the fact that Mia and Lance had got together when they were in college because he hated that Lance was like cheating on her all the time because he thought so highly of Mia. But regardless of that, him and Lance were best friends. He had no beef with Lance.
No.
So when Mia just pops up
It
out
was
the
never
blue,
Lance, you shouldn't cheat on her.
yeah, it was when Mia just pops up out the blue. Now Mia, I can see. I still thought it was fucked up of her, but I see where all
Where
of
you
her,
got- how you got there.
right. I see where all of her vengeance and where like her motive came from. But Harper was just chilling at the crib. You could have just said no. But it was like, I'm a man and there's a naked woman right here. I can't say no. There's no possible, like, there's just nothing I can do about this. It's happening. like she's here.
And that's what makes
it's
it
out
even
of
worse.
my hands.
That's what makes it even worse too, is because you never held your friend accountable. So when your friend finds out, he don't even know why you would do that. Like, Mia been showing me that she's pissed that I cheat on her left and right. What the fuck is your problem? Like, you never even said nothing to this man about how wrong he is, or like he gonna get that karma back. Nothing. You never said nothing. So you really look like, what the fuck was your deal?
And in all honesty, even if he had been telling him, like, that's really fucked up. Like, what is wrong with you? Stop doing her like that. Stop dogging her out. If it's not to the point where you've decided, I can't fuck with you no, like, I'm so upset about this that I can't fuck with you anymore. But you were still actively being his best friend.
Yeah.
So you can't up and decide, like, in the midst, like, you know what? I didn't like how he was doing her either. It's like, yeah, I'm a fucker. Like, no, it's not okay. It doesn't matter. Like, you were still his best friend.
Shit.
You were still being his best friend and carrying on like his best friend. Like, it doesn't matter how you felt inside. Because if it was that deep, if you felt that strongly about his cheating to the point where it was making you think of foul shit like that, like, I might as well have her for myself. Like, you shouldn't have been his friend anymore. Like, if that's the case, if I knew he was going to dog her like this, like I would have took her. Like,
Have her for myself. The lingo.
no, yeah, that was a terrible.
Yeah, I loved that was at the end of the list though. Like, honorable mention, best man.
The best fucking man.
All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you so much for humoring us and talking about this. The moral of the story is, don't fuck your friend's exes. You know, and if you just gotta ask for permission, you know, the worst that can happen is you get your ass beat. Weigh out your options. We already told you in the beginning of the show all the things that we need you to do and all of the places where you can find us, and we appreciate you for taking note on that and already doing the things, because I know you did. I trust and believe in y'all. We love y'all so much, and we're going to talk to y'all, next week?
Yep.
All right. Everybody say bye.
Bye.